If you hear a ticking sound, it's Paul's reenacting a Mission
Yeah.
Impossible movie. We don't know if
I've been
we.
bombed my whole life, so that makes sense. Everything's going great. Let's blow it up. I really do feel it's like a water torture.
So this weekend
Yes.
there was a father-daughter dance. It was fun. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
But as we're leaving, my daughter's like, "What was your favorite memory, Daddy?" And I was like, "Tinnitus."
Wow. Okay. What is this 1950s Sears Roebuck life you're living? Where do you have a father-daughter dance?
It's pretty common. At least it's common around here for.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, you live in Mayberry, but I mean, like, where, like, what's the organization that hosts a father-daughter? Like, where does this?
My kid's
What's the
school.
place? The school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, now you might hear the furnace kicking on.
Well, that would
Which
be.
I gotta shut off.
Speaking of tinnitus, that would be a welcome change from this tick 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 sound.
Like my watch is blowing up. It's like you are in a loud environment. Like I know. There's nothing I can do about this. I can't ask him to turn it down.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't gotten that in a while. I got that on a trip to Providence, I don't know, probably October, something like that, a long time ago, whenever that was. I think it was the last time.
That was the weekend. This is living up the dad life, maximizing it this weekend. I think for the first time in my life, I put down pre-emergent on the lawn in February, which is sort of an insane statement because what you're supposed to do is like
you're supposed to right.
Like the ground temperature's got to be above 50.
Yep.
And some people say 55, some 50, whatever. Usually when it 5-day average is above 50, I drop that stuff. And
we've had flowers come out.
Here we are.
The trees are starting to bud. There's a guy in my neighborhood who is taken on a very ill-advised. He's putting a pattern on the corner of his property where it's like white rocks in kind of an oblong shape, and then it's I don't know if it's dark rocks or mulch or something around it. And he did some of it last fall or whatever, and I was like, that is the ugliest freaking thing I've ever seen. And then there was like all these pallets of things arrived. And I was thinking to myself, oh, someone's doing the mulch a little early this year. And then, no, he's putting down more of those rocks. And it's like, it's so nice out. We're just doing this now.
It's kind of, we went for a hike. It was.
All right. So my inner New Englander is telling me to be worried because we could get destroyed in March or April even or whatever, but it has been a curious, we've had no snow basically. I mean, it has snowed a couple of times, and we even at one point maybe had half an inch or an inch on the ground, and it lasted less than a day, which is ideal. But I just don't trust this. It's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a little weird. Like
you're going to get the shorts out and nature's going to be like, got him.
Exactly. Did he put all the screen windows down? Yeah. Okay. Send in the hurricane. Yeah.
That's, I don't know. It's supposed to be in the 70s this week. That's why I was like, well, the grass is going to start germinating, or the weeds will.
Sure is. Yep. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing, YouTube is reportedly testing a premium of 1080p. Bitrate higher.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to take 1080p away from others, but which was the fear when this was announced. I guess it's mostly about the bitrate. I don't know.
Which
I don't know.
This is not going to look any better depending on your bitrate. I can assure you.
I can assure you that resolution and bitrate is not going to help with this either.
Fixing this.
Yeah, if anything, it'll be worse. It's like the jokes of when local news went to 4K and suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, geez, what's going on there?" Yeah. Well, this is the world. What are you going to do?
Yep, shocking few people. There's a new Surface Laptop Studio on the way eventually, probably later this year. They're in the process of testing a higher chipset.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this, but Mobile World Congress is happening, and I think it started last night or something, and Google made some announcements about Android, whatever, but Lenovo has some new PCs, and most of them are just iterative updates of stuff they already, they do the Carbon or the X1 series at this time of year. The Z series has also been updated, which are the AMD-based ones. But the big news was a prototype of a laptop where the screen expands up like it's like a normal, I don't know if it's 14 inches, whatever, but you can pull the screen up like basically double height. And I don't know how, I'm not there, I haven't seen it, but although I was briefed on the Lenovo stuff, they did not talk about this. They did say there would be a surprise coming. And it's some kind of a scrollable something, I don't know. So that's kind of cool.
Dead Sea Scroll?
Yeah, exactly. I guess Vertical's good to a point. I guess if you're working in documents and stuff, it gets weird for if you're going to do side-by-side stuff, that's a little weird. That's still interesting though. That's kind of cool. What I want, you remember the butterfly keyboard they had? Not the butterfly, I'm sorry. That butterfly was the Apple thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a ThinkPad 710C or something where as you open the laptop lid, it was it could be even as small as a 10-inch screen, but it was let's say a 10 to 12-inch screen. And as you open the screen, the keyboard would
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Right, to be full size. Lots of mechanical issues with that kind of a thing, but an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like an expanding screen of any kind is crazy, but one where you could kind of pull it at the corner instead and have it expand out in both directions, so it would be wider and taller, maybe is the logical, expansion of this idea, right? Not just one direction. It's either way, it's interesting.
Much like the butterfly keyboard, dust could be dicey.
A killer, yeah. Well, this thing with the ThinkPad keyboard was a bunch of mechanical moving parts, so any number. It's like a complicated sunroof on a car, or you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is really cool. Something's going to go wrong here.
Yeah.
Like eventually this is going to be my problem. But it is cool. It was a cool idea.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the Monday thing, right? It's Monday, late February. Although February comes to an end here in 2
seconds. Yeah, tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Yeah, we sold our house. We have a month to move. We were looking at apartments this weekend. My wife finally caved to my demands, if temporarily. But I don't know.
Well, that sounds like fun.
We picked my daughter's home for a few days, and she described this whole process as exciting. And I said, I appreciate the positive tone of what you're saying. I would have used the word terrifying or awful,
or lower back
pain. Of course, that's the way I am, so it's just been stressful and terrible. But
sure. I mean, it's
Plus, we haven't lived in an apartment. We've never lived in an apartment complex, and the places we were going to pick a place where there's only like 2 floors. These aren't giant apartment buildings. I mean, I could never. And actually, the place I think we're going to, assuming they accept it, is like a back corner of a building on the 2nd floor. So, and there's like woodlands behind it, and we'll see. But we haven't lived in an apartment. We've never lived in an apartment complex. But the last time we lived in something you could call an apartment was like 1994. It was like, almost 30 years ago. It was a long time. We lived in little apartments in Phoenix that were on it was a single floor, they were like little houses. And then we bought a house in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. We've basically been living in houses since the late 90s. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And this is a temporary thing, if I remember you.
Well, everything's temporary now.
Yeah, that is
right?
true.
Yeah. I mean, so the compromise my wife made was that we could do like a shorter term lease on this place because I thought it was fine and she didn't. And she's like, all right, let's just go there. It's close. And then we can reevaluate this thing before the holidays. It's going to be tough if both kids are home or whatever. But we can save a little money. I mean, obviously a smaller place, whatever. So I think it's going to be fine, but it's,
I'm sure it'll be good for your connectivity and standardization of podcasting. And
I know that's the thing. I hope we're above a crying baby or a barking dog, or there's actually a train that goes by this place.
Oh, and, that's your hook. That's why you want. I said
we were walking around the other building, where this place was, and I said, hey, that's the train track over there, right? And she goes, yeah. And I said, oh, nice, that's a bonus for me. And then the woman said, I'm not really sure how to take that. And my wife's like, no, he's not being sarcastic. He actually, this is a bonus for him. And the funny thing is, I picked up my daughter at the airport. We're driving home talking about everything. And I said, yeah, there's a train going right by the place. And she literally said, oh, that's a bonus for you. I said, that's exactly what I said. Yeah. So
Paul likes trains.
I love trains. There's a train viewing platform right there. There's a place for people to sit and watch the train go by.
It's going to be great when you find out the actual time it goes by is 3 a.m.
Is there? Well, actually, so I know that is the case because we live in the area. You can hear the train at night, and it does go by overnight. That's when it goes by, and it has to blow the whistle when it goes through a town, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this forlorn kind of. I think it's great. I love it, but you can hear it from here. Like it's
yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's like a plaintive wail, you can hear this thing in the night. I know. Hopefully nobody's been killed, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know how to describe this kind of a sound. I like it. Am I weird?
Just no comment.
I don't know.